Welcome back, fight fans. This video is brought to you by AB Combat. Prime Mike Tyson was a different kind of beast entirely. It wasn't about if Tyson was going to score the knockout. No, it was always a case of when Iron Mike's thunderous shots would land. Here are 5 times Mike Tyson looked truly invincible. Mike Tyson versus Marvis Frazier. Mike Tyson had a pretty rapid rise to the title as an 18 and 19-year-old, but when he did reach his 20th birthday, the real test did eventually begin to flow. And one of the better fighters Iron Mike took on during his time has to be Marvis Frazier, a 16-1 heavyweight who had only lost at the hands of the great Larry Holmes before this. On top of that, as his name would suggest, Marvis was also the son of the legendary Joe Frazier, taking his own nickname from his father. And so, in 1986, Tyson went head-to-head with Little Smoke in a bout that looked set to establish a new contender to the throne. Although most people believed that Tyson would get the win, the speed at which he did so was truly shocking. It took just 30 seconds for Tyson to pin Frazier in a corner and batter him with a series of lethal uppercuts. Seriously, this finishing sequence was all kinds of nasty. Frazier went out as soon as Tyson's first killer blow landed, but he was made to absorb another 4 or 5 blows while he fell to the canvas. A masterwork in brutality for the 25-0 heavyweight contender, and a real indication of what was about to follow when Tyson eventually captured his first world title.
Watch, look, everything's precise. I watched his hand come up, watch him come down. As soon as he come down, boom! Look at that.
Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. Tyson would follow up his victory over Frazier with a win in each of the following 2 months, a pair of TKOs that left his pro record at 27-0. At this point, the champion could not deny him any longer, and with that, a fight against Trevor Berbick was set up. Even now, it was clear that Tyson was becoming a major superstar, and with the opportunity to be the youngest ever heavyweight champion in front of him, we all knew we're about to see something special. And in vintage Tyson style, this one was quick, it was flashy, and it was undeniably violent. Berbick just didn't have an answer for Iron Mike in there, and even in the first round, every time Tyson landed, it looked like it was having a major effect. By the time the second round came, all of a sudden Berbick did not look like the same fighter. This was no longer a case of winning or losing. This was a survival mission, and as you might expect, he did not survive long. Eventually, the punishment just became too much, and when Tyson unleashed his final combo, Berbick fell, and his attempts to get back to his feet were almost difficult to watch. The heavyweight division had a new champion, a force of nature unlike anything it had ever seen before.
Flame says, no, you're not back to your feet. It's all over. And we've got a brand new WBC heavyweight champion of the world.
Mike Tyson versus Tony Tubbs. By the time the fight with Tony Tubbs came around, Mike Tyson was already an established champion, 5 defenses deep into his reign and continuing to show us all just how violent a heavyweight legacy he was laying out. At 21 years old, time was well and truly on his side, and the mainstream world were picking up on the fact that this kid was a bona fide superstar in the making. Pay-per-view numbers were growing, and despite all of his success coming in on U.S. soil for his matchup with Tubbs, the show was brought to Japan. And in that opening round against Tubbs, Tyson wowed the crowd with his head movement and the usual power punches. But Tubbs was certainly making a good account of himself coming into the second, showing excellent hand speed and decent comfort levels in there with the champ. And it was a pretty competitive and engaging fight, up until, well, it wasn't. At the end of the second round, Tyson hammered Tubbs with a series of blows that put him on skates. All of a sudden, the challenger could barely stand straight and proceeded to crumble to the ground with just 6 seconds on the clock. A destructive performance against a worthy adversary. Mike Tyson versus Frank Bruno. Frank Bruno deserves a lot of credit for his skill as a boxer, but if there's one Achilles heel to his game, it is without question his ability to deal with a hard puncher like Tyson. Following his infamous stint in jail, a period that saw him lose out on years of his fighting prime, Iron Mike was on a comeback trail, and after showcasing some difficulties in trying to break down Buster Mathis Jr.'s defense, Mike needed to re-establish himself in a big way. And so, in March of 1996, he took on the British superstar Frank Bruno in a rematch of their first fight from back in 1989. Tyson needed some momentum, and Bruno was in possession of the WC belt, making this a chance for Tyson to recapture world champion status. And yeah, this fight was a total onslaught. Tyson fought like a man who had clearly already KO'd his opponent in the past. Bruno was hurt early and often, and in round 3, a slipped jab by Tyson saw him open up with a flurry of punches, burying Bruno in damage and causing the TKO victory. Tyson was back, and now he had the belt to show for it. Bruno indeed had the technical skills to be the heavyweight king, but when it came to trying to deal with the sheer force of a guy like Mike Tyson, that was always going to be a problem. Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks. And finally, we come to the performance that many people would point to as the definitive Mike Tyson victory. This one had it all: the speed, the power, the ferocity, and Tyson's knack for not wasting any time in getting the job done. Michael Spinks was a very worthy opponent as well, a guy who many analysts and fellow fighters believed had a reasonable route to victory in there with the champion of the world. Legend has it that even the great Muhammad Ali picked Spinks to upset Iron Mike on fight night. Tyson went out there with an almighty chip on his shoulder, desiring to prove a point, to show that this division was under his rule and his alone. A body shot just after the minute mark put Spinks on the canvas, the first knockdown he had ever suffered in his career. And as soon as Tyson found that shot, he knew he had him. Spinks rose to his feet and resumed fighting, only to eat a massive hammer blow that put him down once more, just seconds after the first knockdown. This was a truly destructive effort from Iron Mike, the type of KO that he would be known for decades later. Michael Spinks was one hell of a fighter in his day, but he had never come up against a talent quite like Mike Tyson before, that's for sure. Thanks for watching, fight fans. We'll be back soon.